This episode of the Bear and the Beard podcast is brought to you by, well, you.
That's right, Fandomites. We have launched a Patreon for the show, and we're asking you to be a part of it.
We are going to take out only what is necessary to keep the show going and to keep attending live events every month.
And the amount of funds still in the Patreon after that will be donated to our friends over the Children's of Mississippi.
That's right. In return for your generosity, the different tiers will receive different things: spring store discounts, exclusive bonus content, freebies at live events, and more.
So it's a win-win-win.
Shut up and take my money.
You help us keep the cost of the show down, get cool perks, and donate to a great cause.
Sounds simple enough. Join the Patreon today and stay awesome,
stay bearded, and much love.
Taika Waititi's latest MCU project, Thor for Love and Thunder, rocked right onto the big screen back on July 8th. And then it rolled right onto Disney Plus September 8th, just a few months later. And since we've been on hiatus, I finally got a chance to watch this film. But my main question was, what did my co-host The Beard and our other sometimes co-host Nerd Squatch think about this movie, and what did they have to say? So, what do? We review. Grab your friends. Hello, Stormbreaker. And let's sit down for the Love of Thunder, a mighty review, Season 3, Episode 15, right after this. Please stand by.
Hey, listen!
What's this?
The Bear and the Beard podcast.
Who?
Just two nerdy guys talking nerdy things with their friends and fellow fandomites.
To be fair.
They may disagree or argue sometimes, but spreading positivity and love throughout the fandoms is the goal.
Alright.
It's topical.
And the categories are...
It's funny. But it's always nerdtastic.
I beg your pardon.
Let's check it out.
Oh, yeah!
Go.
What's going on, Fandomites? Welcome back, or to for the first time, the Bear and the Beard podcast. I am Robert the Bear. I'm joined, as always, by my majestically bearded, faithful co-host, Bearded Brian Guy the Beard. Broskius man, my guy.
Mayo Broskis, my dude, I gotta say, with this hiatus, I have missed the whole being the magnificently bearded, faithful co-host. It's awesome to be back.
But y'all have been doing the She-Hulk thing.
Yes,
and I haven't watched it because I haven't watched the show yet, but I've heard that it's getting good reviews and that it is also a good review itself. So I'm glad y'all are doing that. We are joined also by, we might as well just say, official third co-host that's going to pop in the majority of the time, social media sorcerer supreme, Jay the Nerd Squatch. Welcome back to the show, Jay.
Thank you very much.
And now you've been really busy preparing the Little Shop of Horrors that will be...
Yes, I have.
Yeah, a couple of weeks after this comes out, we'll be coming down to see that. I might try to sneak a little quick video for Brian.
As long as you don't get yourself in trouble. As long as you don't get yourself in trouble. I would love to see that.
I'll just wear a GoPro around my neck.
I don't even have to see anything. Just make sure I can hear Jay singing.
Exactly. There you go. We'll do a pocket recording of Jay singing. It's gonna be awesome.
I may just wait after rehearsal one day and be like, "Hey, can we record our song?" And
Yep. And you can tell them it's just for your friends. It's not like it's for posterity.
Well, I need it for rehearsal anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the hiatus too, before we get all fun and whatnot with the episode, do want to say, for those of y'all that don't know, and we're not going to get real deep into this or anything, but for those of y'all that don't know, we all, a few of us had a few losses in our families over that kind of started the hiatus. Was me and Mama Bear, we lost her father, Johnny, Huge Western fan. Me and Frank, our friend from So Geek and Cool, have actually thought about doing a John Wayne episode, a bonus episode in memory of him. So we lost him, and that started the hiatus. But then over the hiatus, I also lost my uncle, and Beard, you lost. I don't want to
stepfather.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that because that's your thing. But so we had some loss, and though it is sad, we've grieved. We've tried to push forward, and now we're back to doing what we do. So we thank everyone. Yeah, we thank everyone for the love and support that y'all showed us personally. We weren't going to get too big into it on the page itself or even in the Talking Nerdy group. We were just like, hey, hiatus, this just has to happen. And the school thing also was another reason for it. I mean, I'm readjusting to that. But we're back now. And as I said, thank you all for the support. Thank you all for, bearing with us during the hiatus. Thank you all for checking out Bard's Tavern Talk. That has been a great labor of love. I've even been editing those episodes, enjoying those. Those came out. We have dropping this week, along with this episode. If you're listening to us first, we should have another episode of Bard's Tavern Talk, and the first episode of Geeked Moms should be dropping as well. Yeah. So be sure to check those out if you haven't already. And now let's get into it. The topic today.
One more little plug. If you're watching this in the morning on Friday, catch Nerd Squatch and I tonight talking all things She-Hulk.
Yes. That's going to be for episodes 3 and 4,
5 and 6.
5 and 6.
I
can't remember.
It's episode 4 of the after show.
Okay,
but it's about episode 5 and 6 of She-Hulk.
Yeah, I can't wait to actually watch that show, and then we're going to do a whole episode about it, obviously, and it's going to be great. But this week's topic is Thor for Love and Thunder.
Oh my gosh, this movie. Let's just appreciate, because I want to know who makes this artwork stuff for Marvel, because this captures the absolute aura of this movie.
I know there's a lot of hate online. I'm going to go ahead and say that right at the top of the episode. Okay. Mostly because we combat toxicity with every episode, or at least we try to. So I know there's a lot of hate out there, but I'm going to say this right now for anyone listening to the show. If you didn't like it, me and you are not going to agree. I could find things to nitpick and say I didn't like about it, and I probably will by the end of the episode. We'll talk about some things, but
I got a big
I went into this knowing that it was a Taika Waititi project, loving Taika Waititi, and going, this is what I expected. It's what I expected. So I wasn't disappointed. Now, there were, like I said, there were probably a few small things we'll talk about, but nothing overall that just was like, this is a crap movie. This shouldn't have been made. Taika Waititi needs to be removed from the MCU.
Solid 8 out of 10 movie. It was fun. The villain was amazing. I don't understand how someone can hate this movie at all. Find things to not like, absolutely, but hate the whole movie? What?
I don't get it. Well, Jay, you're a super Taika fan. What did you think?
well, let me say this, and this is kind of what you were talking about. But I don't know if y'all saw this, but last night the entirety of Rob Zombie's Monsters movie leaked online.
I thought it was just the first 10 minutes.
Oh, was it just the first? Because I thought they said the whole thing leaked and that Rafe had just clipped the first 10. Ooh. Anyway, I saw the first 10 minutes, and I'm sitting here like, all of the hate for this, but this is exactly what you should have expected.
Yeah.
This is it's cheesy. It's not going to be your people are crazy. It's exactly what I remember watching growing up. It's just colorized. And I think it's fantastic for the first 10 minutes. And I thought this movie was good. I enjoyed it. Just like you said, I could nitpick all day. I could take things apart, things that I didn't like. But I choose to focus on what I did enjoy. And I thought I laughed enough. I felt hurt enough. I felt for a villain. And, Marvel has a really good habit of making you do that. But this time, I feel like it really worked because people are like, Gore they wanted Gore to be a one-off here, and that's okay. They weren't going to continue the story, and what they did, I thought, was awesome. And Bale, I just love Christian Bale in anything, but absolutely mind-blowing here.
It's so hard to picture him as anything other than Batman.
Well, now I want him to be the Joker.
Yeah, and now I want to. Yeah, exactly.
Now I want him to be the Joker.
Get out of my head, Jay. That's exactly what I was fixing to say,
dude.
Because he pulled it off so well. The craziness
he did.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so.
He was a truly broken.
Oh yeah. He was so good.
That scene when he was just taunting Valkyrie, I got literal chills.
Yep. The summoning the little centipede thing just to rip its head off, and then he's like, "Oh, but you liked it 5 minutes ago." It's like, what even is this? This is amazing. No, Bale did such a good job. I wouldn't say that I had my reservations about it. I was just curious as to how he was going to pull it off. I didn't think he wouldn't be able to. I was just curious as to the how. And when I saw the how, I was like, okay, yeah, no, this is what I was on board for. this right here. It was so good. So well done.
What was that movie Bale did where he played a psychopath chopping people?
American Psycho.
American Psycho.
Goodness.
I feel like he really pulled from that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I haven't seen that full movie, but I've seen clips from it. And that energy is what he brought to Gore 100%.
Space Patrick Bateman. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's Space Patrick Bateman.
We just saw a lot more killing in American Psycho than we saw in this movie.
That's the new title for this episode: Space Patrick Bateman and the God of Thunder.
I want Gore the God Butcher to kill Morbius in a funny little one-off joke about American Psycho. Please.
I did finally watch Morbius. Have you guys watched it at all?
Yeah, I have seen it. Yes.
It's
a Morbius movie.
It's a Morbius movie.
It's the best Morbius movie there is.
Okay, I want to say I enjoyed aspects of it. I enjoyed watching parts of it.
Yeah,
but there was no plot. I mean, literally, we don't have to do an episode about it because that right there was my whole review. There was no plot.
And see, most of my stuff wasn't even the plot, because the plot, I mean, it's Morbius. He's not one of the most well-known Spider-Man villains. Like, give me a movie about Doc Ock. Give me a movie about Hobgoblin. Give me, anything in other independent characters other than Morbius, and it might would have. The Craven movie has more want for me to watch it than
everybody knows
Morbius
Craven
ever did. Exactly. So my whole thing going into it was, I'm just going to watch the performances. I thought they all did fairly well. It's kind of like
acting was not the problem.
Yeah, it's kind of like the original Daredevil. It gets a lot of hate, but the actors did a great job for what they were given.
I would consider Ghost Rider the Morbius of its time.
See, I actually enjoy the first Ghost Rider.
The first one was good.
I loved the first Ghost Rider, dude.
He was a little old to be Johnny Blaze to me. Not that it made it bad. It just
Spirit of Vengeance is just really, really bad.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that. I will literally take our whole hour of this episode and go on a rant about that. Maybe we should just do a whole negative episode about Ghost Rider.
Worst deal over there.
We'll call it the opposite episode, where we're being toxic for the first time ever.
That is on April Fool's Day or on Backwards Day. We release a video where we're just horrible. Do a little Sergio hates everything.
Yeah.
But Sergio loves
hate
something.
Everything. And get Sergio to do it. And Sergio
love it at the end.
Yes. But overall, this movie was great for me. And I even went into it not really liking the original storyline of She-Thor. Now, that's only because I find continuity issues with how she got her powers in the comic books. That's my only reason for really disliking
I like what they
She-Thor.
did in the movie.
But the movie was great. They took all of that and said, let's change it just enough to where it actually makes sense.
Yeah.
And they fixed it at the beginning for us to not.
Yeah.
So, of course, real world shit coming in, it kind of just. Yep, language. Watch my language. We lost Natalie Portman from this franchise for a while. Mm-hmm. And the way that they filled that into the story to actually make it make sense, and they did it right away so we didn't have to think about it the whole movie, it made sense why they drifted apart. It's not because neither one of them didn't love the other one. It happened as the real world does. People's anxieties stopped them from communicating, and they just kind of dove into their things and drifted apart.
This movie made Thor more human than any other Avengers movie I feel like has ever done for Thor.
And it also proved that it was right, because a lot of people wanted in Endgame, when the lightning struck, that he was going to automatically be skinny Thor again. And with the lightning power, that kind of makes sense, but that montage at the beginning, seeing him actually have to work for it, because he was broken, and so he's building himself back up again.
What was the line Corey said? He went from dad bod to god bod?
He went from sad bod,
or was it sad bod? I can't remember what it was.
He went from sad bod to rad bod is what I think it was.
And then, you know, Thor Claude Van Damme over here.
Oh my god, that whole first fight scene was just incredible.
It ends
you were talking what?
It ends here. That's his
Oh yeah. You were talking about, you know, the hammer and her getting her powers and how they changed it to fit this narrative. And one of my biggest gripes, I'll go ahead and say this, is that as someone who really enjoys the comic source material, that there's two sources, one story made into a movie. And that's my big gripe, is that you took two heavy, harsh, brutal Jason Aaron stories, put them together and made them funny. That was my kind of biggest gripe from the start. But then, when Gore has Jane tied up in the Shadow Realm and he's telling her that his sword and her hammer are doing the same thing, that it's killing them and giving them life. These characters never meet in the comic books. And the fact that Taika Waititi found a way to make a connection between the two of them, that's still the best. It's like, it started out as my biggest gripe and became the best part of the movie for me.
Now, see, I never thought that the comedy outweighed the serious tones. Now, there is one aspect of comedy within this movie that I didn't like, and when I first saw the movie, I didn't know how to describe it, but now I know how to describe it. It's the Michael Scott foot and mouth syndrome.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Thor keeps always putting his foot in his mouth.
Yep.
And to some people, that's really funny. To me, it kind of makes me cringe. It's not my type of humor. But all the other humor, I felt like when it needed to be humorous, it was. And when it needed to be serious, it was serious. Right. Every time Gore was on screen, he, just so much as the black and white era of the Shadow Realm makes everything dark, he brings that darkness.
He brought it with it. Exactly.
Yep. I agree.
And also, Bear and I were gaming right after he saw the movie, and he labeled this perfectly. We got just the right amount of Guardians of the Galaxy in this movie.
Just the right amount.
I think so too. And I think there's a lot of people that are saying we should have had more, but
why? I mean, they're not the start. It's not called Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's if we wanted to do that, then do that. Make that movie. But I think we had just the right amount.
I think we're going to get that movie. Thor's supposed to be in the next Guardians movie. I think Guardians 3 is going to take place.
James Gunn says that I think James Gunn has said he's not a part of it.
Okay.
But Andrew Garfield also said he wasn't going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. So
that's also true. He's not the werewolf. Somebody put Andrew Garfield in the Werewolf by Night trailer, please. That's all I want to see. Is just, I'm not the werewolf.
I do want to point out one. It's a continuity error that I don't remember if it's a continuity error or not. So I'm going to ask this, Jay, since you read the comic books. There was one thing that I told Mama Bear. I said, now I might be wrong on this, but in the comics, the chemo was working for Jane. It was helping. But every time she picked up the hammer, of
The
course,
hammer reset the treatment.
it reset the treatment. But in the movie, the chemo's not working. There's nothing else they can do. So she went to find the hammer to find this magic cure. And she even says it in the movie. She's like, I thought, space Viking magic would work, which is, it's on track for the MCU because that's how she got the ether out of her, was to go to Asgard. So
the new Infinity Stones are kind of like Asgardian magic. They use it in Thor: Love and Thunder. They just used it in something. I mean, they're using it everywhere now. So that's kind of the new little replacement for Chitauri Tech. Chitauri Tech was around in the MCU forever. Now we're getting all the Asgard magic, all the Asgard stuff now. I don't know why, but that's just what they went with.
Now there just needs to be a shard that was left out of the hammer that never got summoned or something.
I'm wondering if they're going to do like infinity shards and infinity fractals when Doom comes around, but I don't know.
That would be interesting.
So Bear and I were talking while gaming, and Bear said this didn't happen in the comics, but I like that it happens in the MCU. The fact that Thor is able to speak magic into the hammer the way his father did.
Yeah,
when he pulled the hammer to protect Jane always. Because although she's worthy for her own reasons, the reason why it came to her was also because it's supposed to protect her.
It was a mixture of the two. Yeah. And for the movie it worked. But I couldn't remember if I was right on that or not, but I was pretty sure Thor has never put any kind of spell on Mjolnir like that.
I don't think so either.
Because that's what it is. It's binding magic. I saw it as when it first happened, I was like, oh, look, Harry Potter. Harry Potter influence. The love is the most powerful magic of all. Not that it took away from the movie. I pointed it out that this is something that didn't happen, but I do like that they blended it. It's like she's also worthy by herself, but Thor also told Mjolnir protect her. So, and that's cool. And the way she was able to use the hammer, I know a lot of people probably gripe about that, like Thor wasn't able to do it, but now Jane can. No, the hammer was broken, and Thor never went back to that spot that we know of to try to regain the fragments. He might have been able to pick up Mjolnir and reforge it like that, for all we know. It just didn't happen. It's not saying it's not possible. It just didn't happen. There's a difference, people. Get over it.
And this movie did not stray from getting us to the point of what's happening. It was early on we started hearing the whispers of, oh, there's someone killing gods. What? What? And then it was right after he fought those. What were those creatures he fought for the Guardians of the Galaxy? Do those things have a name?
I don't know.
They aren't comic book based, but they look like little crazy bird men.
They look like Big Bird and Gizmo from Gremlins got together and had a baby.
Yeah.
And Thor just completely whooped them.
Oh yeah. And I love the I don't know that he's ever done it before in the MCU, but where he sends the chain lightning attack out with the hammer, and it's like it hits one, and then it hits another one, and then it hits another one, and another one, another one, and all he did was swing the hammer one time. I was just like, oh, you gotta love a good chain lightning attack, because that's straight out of a video game right there. That's just awesome to see. But yeah, no, the film was awesome. Like, it was exactly what I expected it to be. We got not just, because a lot of people were like, oh, we're going to get the Greek gods. Okay. But we didn't just get the Greek gods. Nope. We got all the gods. Even the little dumpling god, Bo. Bo the dumpling god showed up.
I was in love with the Cronin god on top of the throne made out of rock, papers, and scissors.
Yes.
How did I miss that? I caught him, but I didn't catch the rock, paper,
it's
scissors.
An iron throne made out of scissors, papers, and rocks. It's pretty funny.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, and while we're talking about Cronin jokes, Boston's in there too. While we're talking about Cronin jokes, let's talk about that one at the end where he met a
Dwayne
guy
The
named
Rock.
Dwayne, the Rock guy.
Dwayne The
love
Rock.
that. He had a mustache like mine.
Oh yeah, the mustache.
Which
It was so
how a rock grows a mustache, I don't know, but I
don't
love
either.
it. I love it.
Do y'all watch Harley Quinn on HBO Max?
I haven't watched it since. If there's any new episodes out, I haven't watched those.
Oh, no,
I
yeah,
watched
That's
a
the
few.
way for me to say it.
Never mind.
So, but yeah, no, having the guy and what was Kurt Russell? Was it Kurt Russell? Who played
Ego?
Zeus?
Oh, that was
No,
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Yeah,
Kurt Russell was Ego.
the Russell name gets me. But yeah, Zeus, mwah, chef's kiss, perfect.
Have y'all watched
Perfect
Ted Lasso
amount.
yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, me and Ori probably both freaked out about this, but Hercules is played by one of the lead guys in that show. It blew my mind. I am so excited, but I'm scared it's going to be another post-credit scene like Mordo that leads to somebody being killed off screen and never seen again. I'm just scared. Ugh.
Can I tell you what Mama Bear had to say about Hercules?
What?
She said if he ever comes back into the MCU, they better cover up his chest. All that hair was unnecessary.
Brett Goldstein,
I
man.
told her, I said, the funny thing is, that is comic book accurate Hercules, though.
Accurate.
He looked
so
exactly like he did in the comics. I swear.
He looked awesome. I thought he
Yeah.
looked great. I'm loving
Really good.
the age of comic accurate costumes. Loving it.
Just
Speaking
the-
of comic accuracy, we talked about this off recording, but Falagar,
yeah.
Oh my god.
One of the most-
literally,
one of
There's
the most
more
benevolent
instances
creatures
of
you'll ever
that,
meet.
that,
you
yeah.
know?
other than Korg standing
that.
there, this is shot for shot the same.
And the hammer. The hammer
And when they get all the distress calls in the beginning, every one of them is another recreation of a butchering from the comics. It's pretty.
Should
it's
we
pretty
have gotten
dope.
a montage of him killing them though? Because
I mean,
See,
even
what I
Rocky had a
wanted-
montage, so
We got a cheesy, Zeus and naked Thor joke. But what
Yeah.
I wanted was Gore crashing that party
yeah.
and killing
I thought they were
everybody
going
there.
to, because like the gods are there partying, having a good time, and his whole thing is the gods don't care. Which, by the way, when he killed that first god, I know he's the villain of the story, but I was like, yeah, get it, Gore,
Me
get
too.
him.
Yeah.
He was just treating him like he was nothing.
In self-defense, he killed the god. The first god he kills is in self-defense, technically,
Well,
because he's
well-
fixing to kill him.
Just remember what Nick Fury says to Thor in the comics that puts him out of commission for years. He whispers in his ear and he goes, Gore was right.
Yep.
And it puts Thor, he drops the hammer. That's how Jane gets it.
Yep.
Is he drops the hammer. Because Nick Fury puts him out.
Yep. With with those three
But
words, Gore was
Gore
right.
was right. And I think that might have been what Jane says to him at the end.
I disagree. I think Thor is proof that Gore was wrong. I think
Yes.
there's a lot of gods
Yes.
like. I think there's a
But
lot of
Thor's
gods who are
learned
messed
to be
up.
human so much now that it has really influenced his status as a god.
Yeah.
He's really become more like us.
He is worthy. In the comic book line from that is when Nick Fury replaces his bad eye with the eye of the Watcher, and he like Nick Fury kills the Watcher and takes
Yeah.
one of his eyes and puts it in with his bad eye, and he can see everything. And from his perspective, from the Watcher's perspective, Gore was right. So and then he tells Thor that Thor then cannot lift the hammer because he himself does not think himself worthy. It's a
Worthy.
self-doubt
Is this
storyline.
Is this the same storyline? Because I watched a video the other day that was probably the most language again badass moment of Thor ever that I want to see in film, where he actually turns down Mjolnir. Thor is not worthy, And so he goes to some place that's linked to what was the Netflix show, the Iron Fist. He goes to something related to that, trying to become the Iron Fist, but actually he becomes the God of Fists. Because he basically trains punching Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Until he is so strong, he breaks Mjolnir down.
I'm not sure, but I have to look at that.
I don't know if it's before or after that storyline, but yeah, because Marvel's continuity is all over the place. But yeah, I've heard of that story too. It's
breaks Mjolnir's will to the point where he's told now anyone can pick up the hammer. You can pick it up now. Do you want to? And he says no.
Nope.
Yep.
Yeah. The comic stuff that they put into this movie was amazing. The mythologies that they put in, the mythos they built. The fact that we got the return of Eternity. You know, because
I didn't even grab a photo.
Yeah.
But
the return?
Amazing.
Well, he's been mentioned once before, and that was in Guardians 2 when Peter says, I can see it, I see eternity, and all you see is that cosmicness in his eyes that makes up eternity. Okay. So
I appreciated how much it looked like eternity.
Mm-hmm.
I just appreciated that when it came on screen, I was just like, well, there it is.
And in the final hall, in the hall where the final fight takes place, there's the statue for the Living Tribunal. There's
Eon, the Living Tribunal, Destiny. They're all there.
And the plot for this was pretty simple, though.
Yeah.
Like, Gore kidnaps a bunch of kids, which is when Thor and Jane are reunited, which was an awesome scene, by the way.
Still never understood why he kidnapped the kids.
I have a theory about that.
Okay.
I feel as the Necrosword, that's right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As that was corrupting him, I feel like a part of him was still in there. And while he's acting villainous because he's being corrupted and he has this mission now, he misses his daughter. And so bringing these children in, maybe a broken part of his brain is like, well, now I have them here, so I have something. But he's also terrifying them. I think it's linked to the fact that he misses his daughter.
And that's
I thought it was just to get Thor there because he knew he needed
he knew he needed Stormbreaker.
But he could have also kidnapped many other different people that could have called Thor.
Absolutely.
The fact that it was children right after he lost his child is interesting.
I mean, he could have just kidnapped Valkyrie, and I feel like that would have been enough to be like, all right, well, now I got to go save the king of Asgard.
I'd love to see more Tessa Thompson with Kristen Bale.
My gosh.
It was such a good scene.
I want to see, and I know we won't now because now she's dead, but I want to see more of Tessa Thompson and Natalie Portman because they had quite a friendship.
Yeah, did we ever get an established timeline of how long Jane was hanging out in New Asgard before Thor showed back up? We never got that. So for all we know, they built a friendship over like months before they showed back up.
Absolutely could be.
And that would be awesome, honestly, to find that out. Because the way Valkyrie addresses or talks about Jane to Thor, and then when she's hanging out with Jane, it seems like she's been there for a while.
Yes.
Like when Mighty Thor, Jane, lands on the scene, Thor's like, who's the new guy? She's like, oh, that guy? You're going to love that guy.
You're going to like the new guy.
So, yeah.
By the way, they're getting so much better at making landings look cool.
Yep.
In the MCU.
The crackling effect and everything is coming along very well. And I'm sure there's some VFX term for it, but it looks so good. It's so good.
I personally, while we're talking about Jane, I think she's coming back as a Valkyrie. That's what I think they're doing, because that's what happened in the comics. I thought is that somehow she became Valkyrie. I can't remember how, but there was a whole run.
Yeah,
that was Jane Foster Valkyrie.
She comes back from Valhalla to be Valkyrie or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Gotta love the fact that her being able to lift Mjolnir and
Idris
Yeah.
Idris
He needs to come
I
back
was so excited.
his son.
But his
not,
son was
not wanting to be
amazing.
called.
Yes.
What was the name that he didn't want to be called? He wanted to be called Axel. I remember that.
Astrid.
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 Okay. Yeah. But he's like, I want to be called Axel because it's from a band I like. It's like, okay.
Rock and roll, man.
I mean, me personally, I don't even want to be able to sing like Axl Rose, but okay, cool. You know, so
Now there is another aspect of this movie that I want to kind of complain about for a second.
okay.
And you have both heard me complain, but I'm just going to do this on recording as well. I hate that the hammers have personalities, like
Yeah.
Stormbreaker going off and pouting and stuff like that. It just the only way I kind of fixed it in my brain as a headcanon to watch it and it not bother me is to just pretend that Thor's being a drama queen and making it happen. But also
mean-
that's totally not what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh hey.
I mean, Stormbreaker is linked to his mood. It is possible that his inner demons, I guess is the best way to say it, could be affecting the hammer in a way. Because it's so linked to him personally and his personality and his emotions that could be the case. And I was with you on that. And the only thing I thought that would have made it better is if you established that they had personalities before now. Before this movie, established that both of these hammers have different personalities, and I would have been completely on board with it for it to be in this movie. But you threw it in there, which is one of the problems I'm having with the comic books right now. Because the story of how Mjolnir is Mjolnir has changed so much over Marvel's comic continuity. It went from, it's just this weapon that was crafted for Thor that, Odin put the blessing on, or the binding spell on or whatever, and sent it to Earth. And then Thor had to go down and retrieve it or whatever. Okay, cool. And then over the years, it's been broken and reforged, and there's been this version of Mjolnir, that version of Mjolnir, whatever. But the main Mjolnir that is Thor's now in the comic books has most recently gone to, what actually gives Mjolnir its attitude, and that's where they drew it from, had to be from the comic books, unless Taika just came up with it on his head. And I'm cool with that too. But there's an explanation in the comics that says, the reason it has attitude is actually because what gives it its lightning powers is this space elemental that's been bound into the hammer. That Odin bound this spirit into the hammer, and that's why it has an attitude. And then even like further along, like we talked about earlier, like with the Gore the God Butcher being right, a storyline that Nick Fury, makes him unworthy. Then like even after he regains his mentality and his worthiness, he gets over his self-doubt, the hammer gets heavy again. Why? It's because there's a Lord of Hammers that controls the hammers now, and the space elemental wants to be returned. Or I'm not getting this 100% right, but I'm getting close enough that y'all
Please don't do God of Hammers. Please don't do God of Hammers.
Let that stay a joke from Thor Ragnarok.
Odin.
I didn't know you were the God of Hammers.
Thor, God of Hammers.
So, but it irks me a little bit to go, they haven't had personalities before. They've just been weapons. And now they have personalities. And actually, only Stormbreaker had a personality, if you think about it.
That's true.
Because every time he tried to talk to Mjolnir just sat there.
Well, okay, there's actually a deleted scene.
Is there? Okay, I didn't watch
There's a deleted scene where Mjolnir is actually knocking. I gotta send you the deleted scene because it actually changes how we view Zeus in this movie. Zeus was actually going to give them the lightning bolts on Earth. And then Jane was going to leave the hospital because Mjolnir was knocking on the window.
I did see Mjolnir float up next to Jane in the movie.
Oh, but that was cool. It was vibrating and shaking like, come on, take me. Let's do this. Let's go. You want to go.
I actually forgot about that when I said that it didn't have a personality. I guess it did. It just didn't have as much moodiness as Stormbreaker had, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely didn't.
But yeah, I'm with you on that. Like that, I really didn't like that. I mean, it took away from the movie a little bit for me, but I can see where they were going with it, and it wasn't so distracting. You know,
I feel
the
like
foot and
that they
mouth
were.
thing.
I feel like they were drawing from that line from Thor Ragnarok, where Korg says, "Well, you'd say you had a pretty intimate relationship with this hammer." And we know that Thor cares about the hammer. I mean, in the scene when it's flinging around in New Asgard, he just keeps calling it like, come here, boy," and he thinks he's going to get it back, and it just flings over to her.
Yep.
I do feel like it's necessary to mention the Superhero Squad show, which was the thing when I was a kid, where he was like madly in love with his hammer, and all he did was talk to the hammer, and he loved the hammer. Yeah, he loved Mjolnir,
and the hammer pulled you off.
Jesus.
So funny. No, yeah, I mean, and there's been times in the comics where the different weapons, or at least Mjolnir, because mostly Mjolnir, and we know this, any comic book fan knows that Stormbreaker in the MCU is not Stormbreaker from the comics in no way, shape, or form.
No, I'm still waiting on Beta Ray Bill. Here it is.
Yeah.
10 years later, Marvel.
But he's already been defeated as a champion, so where did he go? Because we saw his face on Sakaar.
But see, so they said Man-Thing was too, and he's in Werewolf by Night. So who knows?
Can't wait for that, by the way.
That's God, it is. I can't wait.
We need to just do a whole episode where we talk about hype again, because of D23 Day or whatever, Disney Day. Where it's just like, all this stuff is getting announced. Look at this. Look at this.
It's D23 this weekend. Yeah.
And then the Werewolf by Night, that looks so good. Now, I will say one other thing I didn't like about the movie while we're on that subject. And not that I didn't like it, it didn't really fit for me, was the whole end process where Thor is now the father of Gore's daughter. That,
I think,
to me,
poetic.
It's good. It's just, it didn't feel like it fit to me. Like, I feel like she would have fit in better with the Asgardian kids, and maybe him and someone else were responsible for it. Seeing Thor be a dad was a little weird. I'm not saying it was like horribly bad or anything. It just off to me, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. I did like the fact that she drew all over the hammer, because that's what my kids do to my stuff. So that was actually pretty funny.
He also
little
did
actress
that
is so
in
good.
Superhero Squad show.
Yep.
It had a dopey little face.
I think where Taika was going with this, and I'm not in Taika's head, so I don't know, but we have Gore. Gore's whole motivation this whole movie is the gods don't care. The gods don't do anything. They don't do small things. They don't do big things. They just are partying, selfish, self-absorbed, nothing good. And his daughter died because the gods wouldn't help him. And here his daughter's back, and now a god, a literal god who has a million other things he could do, is going to raise his daughter.
A child.
Going back to the whole thing we were talking about earlier with them saying in the comics that Gore was right. This is proof that Gore was wrong. There's a god who's literally going to pay a little less attention to superhero life and pay attention to being a dad. Or an uncle. He actually more calls himself an uncle. Yeah. Because she has a dad. But still, like, taking care of her, raising her. That is a noble cause. And
it was a great way to end the movie. It just was off to me seeing Thor be Dad Thor, I guess, is the only way I could really say. Like, that's where I had an issue with it, because it was like, we're going to put this in here, like, yes, he's going to do the pancakes and all that. It's like, but I guess when I think about it more, we also did have those segments where he was with Daryl. Was it Daryl when he was on Earth? So I guess it's not too far off base for Marvel. But no, I love the character. I can't wait to see her more. I want to see her grow up and be the child of eternity that she is, with all those powers. And I guess, wielding Mjolnir now. That's really cool.
Is she Singularity?
That's possible.
That's who she looked like for a brief second. Because
Yeah.
Singularity looks just like Eternity, but female.
Yeah,
So
that's possible.
I'll tell you something I needed in this movie. Isn't it a thing in the MCU that gods exist because we believe in them, we talk about them?
I don't know if that's ever actually been established in the MCU. That's how I've just kind of always perceived it, because it's been mentioned like that in the comics before. Like the gods have power because people manifest them.
Okay, I didn't know if Moon Knight touched more on that than anything had or not. I know it said that about the afterlife. That you literally manifest what your afterlife looks like based on your belief. But, and I guess that would mean the gods work the same way. But, I needed a white, blonde, conservative Jesus joke. Like, where they're like, they just made him by accident. It was all a misunderstanding, and he just hangs out here. And he's just always Whoa!
It's the Jesus from Dogma.
There was an article.
It's Buddy Jesus.
I don't remember which way it went, but it was either strongly one way or strongly the other way. That either Taika had strong ideas about putting a Jesus in this, or he had strong reservations against even letting it in at all. But either way, that was a topic about this movie that was just...
I know Satan was. I know Russell Crowe was scripted as Satan originally, but then they were like, we don't want to give them any reason to talk about this.
Well, and we've talked about that in the past, too, is like the reason we may never see Mephisto is because, Marvel knows where it's going to make its money. If it's going to have something removed, or they have to change a whole lot of a movie because they chose to go one way and it's not going to air in a whole country, then they're not going to do it. They've
stopped doing that recently, though. They've kind of stopped giving in to other countries' pressure because Miss Marvel was great.
Right.
Yep. Miss Marvel is being boycotted in several countries. Not just that, but Multiverse of Madness was being boycotted simply because there was a lesbian couple in a small part of the movie.
But you have to remember that, Disney Plus specifically isn't available in some places of the world. So it really matters on if they keep this content in the film.
While we're on that subject, not that because I know we are going to wrap this up eventually, but while we're on that subject, I have a question to ask you, Jay, and I think it's only suited for a Squatch Talk segment.
It's Squatch Talk, baby. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I watched a video.
Okay.
After I watched Thor: Love and Thunder, and it was a review, and the question was Thor: Love and Thunder guilty of queer baiting? And the reason they brought this up was because of the interview that Taika and Natalie and Tessa did. They did some panel or something
where they say it's so gay.
Super gay was the exact quote. But then you watch the movie and it's not. So, was Thor: Love and Thunder, in your opinion, Nerd Squatch, guilty of queer baiting in any way?
Here's my thing.
Okay.
I've said this about many things that I love. SpongeBob the Musical is one of them. There was an interview with one of the actors from that show, the Broadway show, where he says it's the gayest show on Broadway. Well, you've seen it. There's no gay content in it at all. It's all for me, when they say stuff like that, it's about nuance. The costumes are bright and loud. The color hair, the colored set. Well, look at Thor: Love and Thunder. The bridge underneath the boat that is literally like a rainbow version of the Yellow Brick Road, which Wizard of Oz already is a huge gay film. You know, it's a cult classic for people like me. And you know, the Rainbow Bridge looked like the Yellow Brick Road, and Judy Garland. And Jane and Natalie had kind of little not Jane and Natalie, Valkyrie and Jane had
Jane
little
and
moments where I was like, interesting. What were y'all doing all of this time? Explain. Korg got him a partner, but then again, everybody, I've wanted to talk about this on a platform forever because I love it when people get mad about things they don't understand. Cronins in the comic books have no female counterpart. They're all male. It's always been this way.
They're the closest thing we have, or reverse. Mocklins in the Orville, another show that I know me and Beard love. They normally don't have any female counterparts. So the Cronins are the closest thing we have to that, or vice versa. However, so yeah,
they do not have female, and so they all produce the way that they were by having the little thing. So I wonder, are Korg and Dwayne gonna have a little baby Cronin? I hope so. That would be great.
I think they
name him
definitely
Adam,
are, because
please, so that I can laugh about Black Adam even more. Please name the baby Adam. Please.
No, Adamite. It's got to be Adamite.
Adamite. Oh
by the way,
my
Korg looked
gosh.
amazing.
Oh, Korg looked great. Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, I loved Korg's little shepherd outfit.
If I didn't, mind sitting and painting a morph suit on my body that looked like rocks, I'd do a Korg cosplay.
I've seen people make it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to see somebody do it with Ben Grimm so I can finally have a Fantastic Four.
So in your opinion, on the topic of the question, was it guilty of queerbaiting? So the answer,
No.
I guess, is no. No. Yeah. See, I didn't think so either.
I don't think so.
No, I think people. This is where I'm gonna get up on Nerd Squatch's soapbox real quick with him, and I'm just gonna say that I think people misunderstand a lot of stuff.
It felt like it was made for a queer audience.
Yeah, or at
Because
least
of
made
how-
so that they could also enjoy it just as much as everybody else.
Right. It had nuances
It was
of
inclusive.
queerness that a lot of
Yeah.
regular movies just don't have. A lot of Marvel movies don't have that. That where I was kind of like, this is really out there.
Yeah.
So
I
you
agree.
know,
I think it was good. I think people need to understand what they're saying when they say
Zeus
stuff
was
like
also
that, like,
totally.
yeah.
But that's because gods are deities that just
Yeah.
do whatever they want. I mean,
Well-
but he literally flitted down those stairs. I'm not the only one that saw that.
I loved that version. That Zeus was more accurate than the Disney version of Zeus from
Yes,
the Disney
I
animated
agree.
Hercules. But we didn't have
Zeus
to have
is
any
a hero,
goose,
Micah. Don't get on.
goose talk or oxen talk or the golden shower talk from Greek mythology. We didn't have to have any of that to understand he is not a good guy. He's just not. You can see it. It was amazing. But yeah,
and I loved the whole, because here's the thing, Thor had to have that moment. It's a mirror of the opening scene. That moment for Thor is the same thing that Gore went through when he met his god. Learning that the people you've worshipped are crap. That they could care if you live or die.
Except Thor had
Then
to
he got
experience his naked, so
He literally had to be exposed.
I loved all the fainting. I wonder how many people in the audience at theaters actually did that in that moment. Like, oh my god!
I wonder how many people were doing this.
Yeah.
it's just like,
should we help him out? Eventually,
eventually.
Eventually.
We have to. If a Chris is in the movie, he has to be shirtless at least once. And
he was a lot more than shirtless.
Yeah.
Look, we need to
I
find
thought,
the
I
fourth.
thought that Blur was going to be there, but this was like Hulk from Ragnarok, but Thor.
Yep.
We need to find the fourth Chris to be Reed Richards.
I vote Chris Pine. If we're picking Chris's.
That's really not as bad of an idea
I vote
as
Chris
it
Pine
might
if we're picking
seem.
Chris's. Yeah.
I don't know. I could see him as maybe a Cyclops.
Yeah.
That would complete that for me.
Oh yeah.
So one other thing I wanted to talk about,
Yeah.
for sure, the Shadow Realm. I loved how cinematically speaking, how they handled color. Because although it's a place void of color, the weapons they use and the lightning, that brings color. Like, it's black and white, but you can see the lightning coming from Thor. You can see the little bit of red.
It's
on
really
his
cool
cape.
how it was done.
You see Gore's eyes glowing yellow, and it's just such an interesting play on color.
And when Jane lit up the hammer to use it as a light in the Shadow Realm, you can see some color on her, but only in the places that the light from the hammer is hitting her, whereas there's actually light in the Shadow Realm that's already illuminating her. It was very well done, very beautiful.
And then when Valkyrie and Gore are fighting, the Zeus's lightning bolt illuminates them. Oh, yep,
That one there. Yep.
Which he really tried to piss off all three of them, but I think he pushed Valkyrie way too hard.
Yep.
Like, that's the scene I bring up when people say that the comedy completely outweighed the serious tone. I got chills when he put the vine over her mouth and was just taunting her about her lost love and all of her sisterhood.
You called out to the gods and they let your sisterhood die.
Like, on one hand, he's saying it because he believes it, but he's also saying it to infuriate her. But she also knows her stance because she is now king of Asgard.
Right.
And
I do want to point out one, I don't know if it's a continuity thing or if this was, take it how you will, but I want to point out one thing that I noticed, and a lot of other people have noticed it too. The fact that at the beginning of the movie, Tessa, king of Asgard, Valkyrie, says, "My dream is to die on the battlefield so I can go to Valhalla." And then there's a scene literally toward the end of the movie where she's like, "I'm not going to go with you because that'll just get me killed and that won't help anybody." I'm like,
well, because she knows her duty.
She knows her duty. And that's the way I choose to interpret it, is she has grown to believe there is more to what I am than just some grunt to die on a battlefield. And that's great. That's a great way to look at it, but that's not how a lot of the internet's looking at it. And it just looks like a continuity error. And it's funny to me that it is a continuity error, technically.
It sounds like when she says it that she just wants to die, she just wants to die. But it's not like struggling in that way. It's more like they know their afterlife. They know it exists. So she knows that eventually she could be happy with her love and her sisterhood in Valhalla. But she also knows that she has a duty as king. I mean, she said in Endgame that she's going to change some stuff around here. Right. And she does. I love the new updated armor for the, what are they called? The Guard.
They're just Asgardian warriors, I think. I'm not sure.
They have a more modern look to them. But I don't know. She really is doing a good job
turning it into a tourism destination.
That part I don't love.
I don't love it, but let's remember where New Asgard actually is in the comics, and or I don't know if you know this. So I'm going to tell you this, and you tell me which one's better. Okay. You have what we have in Thor: Love and Thunder, where it's a tourist destination. People can come and fly, come and see the Broken Hammer, come and see plays put on by Matt Damon for some reason.
It's in like Missouri, isn't it?
So in the comic books, when Asgard is rebuilt by Stark and Odin and everybody else gets together to build a new floating city, it just kind of hovers over Utah.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of hovers. People can go and visit. It's a tourist destination there as well, but they have to get there, and it just kind of floats over cornfields and everything. So I thought, like, I agree. At first, it was like, I got to get used to this, but then I thought about it like, dude, if this was real, I'd go, like, in a heartbeat. Like when we talked about Jurassic Park in our Jurassic Park episode, I'd go, I'd fly on the boats.
I'm a sucker for the theme park spectacle.
And we're also talking about a company that made their money off theme parks.
Nerd Squatch brought up something. It doesn't. I don't see it the same way, but I do not like it. The infinity cones.
Oh my god, I hate it.
I don't like it.
All they had to do was pick the other gauntlet. All they had to do.
All they had to do was do the Stark Gauntlet. But no,
Exactly.
ice cream shop made up of genocide. Look at that. Dang, man.
After Ben and Jerry's did such a good job in Endgame.
Taika was never the same after Jojo Rabbit. Dang it, Taika. Dang it, Taika.
Oh,
And
my
then
goodness.
one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie was towards the end, that last fight
Yeah.
scene when he finally gets all the children, tells them to pick up toys or whatever they can pick up.
And he uses
and he
the lightning
bestows
bolt to give them power.
power of Thor, and it just
Mama Bear
echoes through
said,
them.
Mama Bear said during that exact scene right there, she said, I need to see that stuffed bunny come to life and eat one of the shadow creatures. And then literally the next second is the laser beams coming out of the bunny's eyes. She's like, I'm good with that too. That was amazing. It was so good. And he even had the presence of mind to go for a limited time. You know, for a short period, we'll have the power of Thor. And that was awesome. Again, I don't think it ever happened in the comic books, but it was great for this movie, and I loved it.
Another reason it resonated with me, I was a kid who was afraid of the dark, of the shadows. Like, anytime the light went off in my room when I went to bed,
Have you seen what they based them on? The monsters? That they're all based on children's drawings from the Cruise families?
I did not know that.
They told their kids to draw shadow monsters, and they then turned them into the designs in the movie.
That makes it even
pretty
better.
cool.
That's so
Because
cool.
The whole thing I'm thinking of, as a kid, I was afraid of what's in the dark, what's the
Yeah.
monster in the shadows, and literally, they're afraid the whole movie. They're captured by this evil god butcher, and they're hoping their hero comes to save them. When their hero gets there, he's like, "Here, save yourselves. Fight the thing that you're afraid of," and they did.
Which, can we take a second to go, why weren't the Asgardian kids already being trained in self-defense? Like, why?
Well, they live on Earth. They kind of have their... I still don't think all of them are going to be trained because...
No, the ones that want to be, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I love that, though. I loved the scene at the end where it's like, oh, yeah, and, you know, Sif's going to train these people, and Valkyrie's going to train these kids, and they're all going to learn self-defense, and I was just kind of like, yeah, but shouldn't they have already been doing that? Like, I would have, if I was an Asgardian.
Can't Half-Blood up in here.
Yeah, let's get Half-Blood up in here. That's another topic for another time.
Coming up.
Yeah, for sure. We got to revisit Percy Jackson when that series launches. But yeah, no, I thought it was very well done. All the kid actors did a great job. I know it was very brief.
Chris Hemsworth's little girl, man.
Yeah.
As Love was just awesome. Yeah.
Wait, that's actually his daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's India.
See, I had my mind blown, and now you have your mind blown. I love this. This is why we do this show, ladies and gentlemen. It's so cool.
For our audio listeners, I am just looking totally puzzled right now.
Yeah, it's so well done. But yeah, all right. Well, I guess.
Yeah, I've got dogs barking and yelping.
Yeah, that brings us to the end. So I guess let's give it our reviews. Real quick. Overall, we could talk it even more to death if we wanted to. Let's start with Jay. Jay, how many Squatch prints do you give?
Out of 10, I did 7, so I'm going to do a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. 3.5 out of 5, 7 out of 10.
We're doing out of 5s?
Either one. Whatever you want to do.
Good.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I would give it out of 5, but out of 10, 8 out of 10, solid. Beers.
8 out of 10. And I'm going to give it 9 bear paws out of 10. Just because, I mean, like I said, I went into it expecting a Taika project. And I wasn't disappointed at all. I've actually been catching up on Our Flag Means Death.
Yay!
I watched the first episode.
Yeah,
I watched
love that. Episode. Love that. So well done. So yeah, I went into this knowing what it was going to be, or at least expecting it. It's a Taika project, and I wasn't disappointed at all. A few nitpicks here and there, but other than that, overall, 9 out of 10. Very, very well done. We don't have a Talking Nerdy segment this week, guys. I do want to take this time that we would normally dedicate to that to remind everyone to go and sign up for the Patreon. I know we put that at the beginning of the episode, but that is starting to gain some momentum. We had a new one. I'll put the name here. I think it's Whip. I remember that. It's Whipple Drinking Fandomite, which I'm hoping that Whipple is a reference to my other favorite podcast, Dan Cummins' Time Suck. I could be wrong, but we'll see. But thank you for signing up. And yeah, had a lot of fun at our Batman Day event, which was last weekend. That was real fun. I got a picture. I'll throw it here. That's me and Jim Gordon.
Was Joey's friend dressed as Selena Kyle?
Selena Kyle, yes.
Okay,
I thought so.
There. Just wanted to be sure.
Yeah. So
by the time this comes out, I'll be at a con tomorrow in Nebraska.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this day of release, go and check. If you're in the Nebraska area, go and check. And that's mid. What is it called?
It's the Midwest Comic and Sports Expo.
Okay.
I'm so sad we're not going to make it out.
I wish we could have. Yeah.
I wound up going to a Casey's in Nashville, the gas station I needed to go to, and I found the Mountain Dew I was looking for.
Nice.
It was delicious.
Did you try some Casey's pizza?
No, but I need to.
Okay.
Yeah, Casey's pizza is delicious.
Or when we come to Nebraska, we'll do a Casey's pizza.
Maybe for Christmas. Maybe we'll do a big Christmas episode up in Nebraska.
That would be dope.
I think it'd be fun.
Come on up.
Mom and I were trying to figure out if we want to go home. Maybe we don't go home. Maybe we do that.
Maybe you just go home and then skip home and go to Nebraska. But guys, thank y'all so much for being here. It feels so good to be back. Thank you for dealing with us bearing with us during the hiatus. We thank you so much for the love and support. So glad to be back. Check out Bard's Tavern Talk. New episode also dropped today. First episode of Geek Moms dropped today. Check that out. Be looking for a rebrand in January. Go ahead and throw this out here now, where our YouTube channel is just going to become Bearded Bear Entertainment, where we will have all of the podcasts on one YouTube channel. It's going to be our page still, so if you're already following, great. If you're not, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. God, that felt weird. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber, and that felt weird to say.
Comment, like, share, links in bio.
Do all the things. And in the meantime, I guess we're going to get out of here. I've been the Bear.
I've been the Beard.
And that's
I've been Nerd Squatch.
Yes, sir. And we want to remind you, as always, to stay awesome,
stay bearded,
and much love. We will see y'all next time. We are out of here. To infinity and beyond.
Cut the check!
That was totally wicked!
Thanks for checking out another episode. We hope you enjoyed it. New episodes are released every other Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Check back then or subscribe so that your device downloads it automatically. Audio episodes are available pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, so it's really easy to share them with all your nerdy friends. For YouTube viewers, subscribe and click the little bell so you're notified about all our new content. Links to talk nerdy to us can be found in the episode description as always. You can chat with the Bear, the Beard, or the rest of the Bearded Bear team, head researcher and graphic designer, Mama Bear, the social media sorcerer, Nerd Squatch, the master of marketing, Han Bralo, the master merch fabricator, Tyler the Great, or any of our public liaisons, Mama Kim, Katie Cat, or JB. Huge thanks to them, the geeks of the round table, and all our awesome friends of the cast. Much love, y'all. Lastly, for more cool music like this awesome outro track, go check out Harlequin Soul, Secret Apex on Facebook and Spotify. His links are in the description as well. Talk at you next episode, nerds. See you then.
Bear, if you don't have a joke,
I don't.
Alexa, tell me a joke.
Superman walks into a restaurant. The manager says, costume nights on Tuesday.
I don't know what happened. She started whispering. The joke is that there's no joke. Thanks for watching.
The joke's no joke. Thanks for watching. See you next time.